Ladies and gentlemen, theys and gamers, welcome to Creme de la Creator, the podcast that celebrates remarkable content creators and their communities. My name is Grant Alexander. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mr. Jake Lane. Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very, very well, thanks. I've had a very chilled week, so it's all gravy. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing very well. I have a long weekend off. I'm off from now until next Tuesday, so it's going to be glorious, and we're going to go nowhere, because you can't go anywhere.
That's true.
So all of this time off to use and no place to go.
Yeah. Damn, I had to cancel my plans on my trip to the living room. Guess I'm just going to have to stay in the bed.
But other than that, yeah, we're doing okay.
Awesome. Have you got some shows lined up to binge watch over the long weekend?
Yes, so we just got an Amazon Fire TV stick, which has pretty much everything I could possibly want on it.
I've been really looking forward to this week's episode because this week it is a YouTube special. We're 6 episodes in, we've already got our second special.
Yeah. What the hell was that?
That was my air horn. I got excited. This is how little work I did today in work. I was just messing around with meme soundboards, so I thought I'll throw a curveball at you. So excited I am for this episode.
You'll be very pleased to know that if we choose to upgrade our Zencaster recording, it comes with a soundboard where you can choose sounds to add to it. But I'm so grateful that you've played that for us and jumped the gun.
That's dangerous though, because you know if I had all these toys to play, it would be a lot of you shouting at me to stop messing with the sound effects and then having to edit 90% of the junk that I'm just playing over the actual content.
I'm entirely sure that is the sole purpose of the soundboard on Zencaster, to incite violence and arguments. So, shall we get on to some honourable mentions?
We shall, yeah. Let's jump in with some honourable mentions. Would you like to go first? I think I went first last week, so
I can go first, not a problem. So I've got 1/2 honourable mentions this week. So first off, we've got musician and YouTuber Jonathan Young, who does rock and metal covers of all your favourite anime theme tunes and all your favourite songs. He recently did a cover of the sea shanty Leave Her Johnny, which is hauntingly beautiful.
It is fantastic.
That was just his vocals and piano accompaniment. He does an incredible version of the One Punch Man opening, which I don't know. Jacob, do you know One Punch Man at all?
I don't actually.
You'd love it. So, you know, anime, big anime fights and superheroes and stuff like that. So this is basically set in a world where everyone, that like superheroes are kind of for hire, and there's a lot of them. There are different rankings. And One Punch Man is exactly what it says. It's about a guy who is bored with his life as a superhero because he can finish a fight in one punch every time. And you know, the villains do these big long speeches. They're really huge, grotesque kind of monsters, like 1,000-foot tall kaijus, and he's just sat there going, yeah, are you done? Are you done? And then just one punch and they're obliterated. And it's just following his journey through meaningless life as an overpowered superhero. And it's exactly as funny as it sounds, so I highly recommend it. And the theme tune is bananas. And Jonathan Young does a great version of it. Moving on to the kind of side honourable mention, he did a cover with another YouTuber musician called Babic of The Offspring's You're Gonna Go Far Kid, which has been on repeat in my headphones for days now. They released it a couple of months ago and it's just chef's kiss. It's so good. They balance each other's voices perfectly. The mix is great. It's one of those covers which is like toe-to-toe with the original, so big shout out to those guys.
Awesome stuff. I will definitely check out One Punch Man, by the way. That sounds exactly the sort of thing I'd like.
Please do. It's so good.
Awesome. So I have sort of 2.5 honourable mentions this week. So I've taken a few. So the first one isn't anyone specific, but it's just a shout out. So it's Black History Month in the US, month of February. And their hashtag on Twitter, hashtag 28 Days of Black Cosplay. I just wanted to give that an honourable mention because please go and check that out. You see some fantastic creators doing their thing on there and it's awesome. I didn't pick someone specific because I just felt it wouldn't be fair to say, oh, I'm going to choose you over you or you over you. I just thought, you know what? Go with the hashtag, and guys, please check it out.
Nice.
The second honourable mention I've got is in the UK, it's Race Equality Week between the 1st and 7th of February. So it's a UK-wide initiative uniting hundreds of organisations and individuals to address the barriers facing race equality in the workplace. It's actually pretty new, to be fair. Pretty sure it started this year.
Nice.
With this in mind, it got me thinking about somebody I see a lot of on Instagram and what they do. So my social media influencer before, obviously, I had Dr. Janaway, and this one is also a doctor. So this person is Dr. Simi Pam, and she combines playing Premier 15s rugby, it's the highest level of women's rugby in the UK, with being a full-time doctor. I did briefly mention her in episode 1. She was on the Black Girls Rock podcast.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome, absolutely awesome. I just wanted to emphasise her social media presence. For being a straight-talking, body-positive female athlete to addressing racism, she's always addressing and speaking out for what's right. And, I've got a lot of time for what she posts. And her, Alana knows her as well from Bristol Rugby, and she's like just really down-to-earth, lovely, lovely girl. But her Instagram it's got an abundance of story highlights that she kind of puts on there about things she feels are important. I just wanted to draw attention to the posts on racism, and in particular, one of the posts from 2020 that was shortly after the Black Lives Matter protests in Bristol. And I quote, "The saddest part for me about being a black woman, especially as I live and work in a predominantly white environment, is that to some people, no matter what I do, I will never be more than my skin colour. They will always have a preconceived opinion about me, my role in society and my character based off nothing more than the fact my skin is black." She then goes on to discuss a very long story, so to say, it's just basically a compilation, almost like a vlog essentially at this point, about her personal experiences that she kind of experienced about overt racism and things like that. And more importantly, she plugs a lot of things about how people can be allies. It's kind of like, do you remember the social media blackout? The black square? Yeah. The day after that, it was kind of like so you posted a black square. Great. Racism isn't fixed in a day. Here's how you can continue to support the fight for equality. And she posts lots of different things on her Instagram, and, definitely go check her out, as well as posting some of her rugby clips and stuff. She's a real advocate for that. So that's my second honourable mention.
Fantastic.
I actually kind of have 3, and this one is a little bit of a shameless, not self-promotion, but it's something I'm heavily involved with. But I think it's pretty awesome.
That's fine.
So I coach football for Bristol Rovers women's team. Those of you that obviously don't know me wouldn't know that. But this season, the Bristol Rovers away kit was inducted into the National Football Museum. Last year, instead of sponsorship, they decided to give the front of their shirt to the charity and festival organisers Bristol Pride.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. We were in a fortunate position that we could afford to do that. Obviously, some clubs can't, but we had a lot of people kind of supporting the club and what they're working for. As a result, they were like, do you know what? We don't need a sponsorship this year for the front of our shirt. What we can do is give it to someone. And they chose Bristol Pride. The club's founded on the core values of inclusivity, community, and that football's for all. And the kit itself was designed by Mavis, Matt Davis, his real name is. He's the club secretary and the media manager, and the first team manager, Nathan. They even sold replica shirts on one of the websites, and loads of people have bought them.
That's fantastic.
It's awesome. It's like purple with rainbow sleeves and stuff. I've got a link, so we'll put that in the description. And even the photo shoot for the kit launch was awesome. Mavis found some awesome street art, had the girls come out. It's a beautiful sunny day, and you look and think it really celebrates everything that they were trying to achieve. It's awesome.
That sounds like Bristol in a photograph right there. You've got sport, you've got pride, you've got street art.
It literally is. You've nailed on the head there. It is Bristol in a photograph. And the reason it's been inducted into the museum, it is actually voted the 9th best kit in England. And that is from every club, from the Premier League across the nation. It was awarded the 9th best kit. So it got inducted into the National Football Museum, which is a feat of achievement in itself.
You guys should be really proud of that.
Honestly, it's phenomenal. I think as much as anything, to have a kit in there is great, but the fact that the kit was founded and it came about for such a fantastic reason, and to really kind of promote what the club's about and what the communities are about. So I thought I'd drop that in this week because with it being LGBT History Month, I thought it's an appropriate honourable mention to them. So, and
a testament to the work that you guys do as a club and as an organisation. It's just astounding stuff.
It is awesome, and really proud to be involved with that club. To be fair, and the biggest frustration at the moment is the fact that COVID's kind of put halt to play, and we can't do as much as we want to be able to do, not just from the football side of things, but in the community and stuff, because that's really what it's about. The club was founded from the community trust, so it really is. It's not about that elitism. It's about community. It's about making a difference, and it's about being somewhere that everyone can be involved with.
So, everybody, as it's a special, we like to do things a little bit differently, and I'm taking a leaf out of last week's Honourable Mention, Whooper and Nebula's Nerdtastic Galaxy, because they have a great format on some episodes where they like to interview each other with the same questions. So what's going to happen is I'm going to ask Jake a series of questions, and his answers will prompt discussion, and then he's going to ask me the same set of questions, and further discussion will ensue. So, Jake, what was the first YouTube channel you ever subscribed to?
I was thinking a lot about this, and if I'm honest, I have literally no idea. I think, honestly, it was that long ago. I think it was a channel called Robelinda, and it was just a random person that posts loads of like cricket videos, and it was all like classic clips of this and that, and I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome, I'll subscribe to that. So I've
got to be honest, I was certain that your first subscription was either going to be cricket or rugby.
Yeah, it was.
I would have put very good money on that.
It was always going to be something sport related, wasn't it? But it was. It was literally just someone posts videos, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, I like that, so I'm going to subscribe to them. And
excellent. Are they still going? Still posting?
They are, actually. I think they've had a couple of channels now. I don't know whether one got closed down or something like that. I think the channels changed because, obviously, the early days, there wasn't so much of a concern about copyright and things like that, whereas now it's like you can't just post, Sky Sports stuff on there with different music and bits, because it's like, yeah.
We were thinking about this the other day. Do you remember when you'd swap MP3s over Bluetooth? Before copyright on digital files was a thing. Like you think back now to all the real illegal stuff, and then you get that you wouldn't steal a car DVD piracy advert.
Yeah, you wouldn't steal a car. Don't send a song to your mates over infrared that you have to start at the start of the day and stay there till 5 p.m.
Yeah, you left them in your lockers adjacent to each other, and you left it all day. And the batteries would last because the phones that's all they were.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Next question. What value do you think YouTube delivers over other content platforms?
It's accessibility, first and foremost. That's kind of the number one thing, because it's so easy to put stuff on there, and it's so easy to find stuff on there. But I think there's lots of other websites are accessible too, though. That's the thing. But for me, I would say second to that is just the volume of content, is the fact that you can find literally anything you want. Whether it's fan fiction, gamers, any kind of news channels, or even a couple from Finland who crush things with their 100-ton hydraulic press. Whatever you might want to watch, you can do it. And the fact that it's so accessible is great, but accessibility is one thing. If the volume of content wasn't there, then it wouldn't be as popular as it was if it was a lot more kind of restrictive and limited.
Sure. Wouldn't draw people in from all corners of the internet.
Yeah, literally. That's the beauty of it. Did you know about the history of YouTube, about how the guys that founded it, what it was originally intended to be?
I only know that it was founded by some guys from PayPal. Is that right?
Yeah. They basically wanted to make it like a video dating site. That's the original kind of pitch for it, but it didn't work. So they just decided to go down the route of put whatever videos you want on, sort of thing. And it went from there, really. That's it in a nutshell, but...
Talk about blundering into $1 billion business.
Wish my mistakes were that profitable. Usually just involve dropping dinner on the floor, and it costs me money because I've now got to buy more food to replace it.
It's a glorious insight into the daily life of pandemic Jake. So question 3. What is currently your most frequented YouTube channel?
Oh, now this one's it's a bit of a toss-up here, because there's a channel I watch called Total Pro Sports TPS, and they put a lot of NFL content out. New England Patriots fan for the American listeners, so don't at me.
You got Super Bowl this week, haven't you?
Not the Patriots, no. Well, we have the Super Bowl, but I mean, Tom Brady's there, but yeah.
You can tell exactly how much I don't know about sports.
Yeah, so because we watch a lot of NFL and we're into that, their channel puts out lots of news about, potential trades and stuff, off-season stuff, new season stuff, and in seasons, just literally just constant stream of various different news. They also put out, I suppose it's the sports equivalent to Fan Theory, where it's like, 10 reasons why this would be the perfect trade for this player.
Oh yeah, sure.
And then they go down the route of, this is why he should move to this team sort of thing. Yeah, I really like that. It's either that or, from a kind of more entertainment point of view, it's more channel New Rockstars. So they put out lots of theories and breakdowns of different series and movies and, like MCU, DC, anything like that. So even like a season trailer for like the latest season of Big Mouth when that came out, like the next day there was a trailer breakdown as to what it could mean. I can remember watching the Rick and Morty trailer breakdown for season 4 several times. But yeah, I like New Rockstars. I quite often watch those.
And kind of a side question to that, whose videos do you religiously wait for? Like, who are you really excited? As soon as the video comes out, you have to stop everything and watch.
If I'm honest, I turned off a lot of my notifications because it was just it was irritating me.
That's fair. You don't have to ring that bell.
Yeah. But the one that I do have on is Movies with Mikey and Film Joy. Every time there's a new one, it's like, bam, have to watch that.
And if you don't watch it immediately, 20 minutes after it goes live, I'll link it to you to make sure you watch it.
Yeah. I think it has to be watched within the first 12 hours. Otherwise, the other one sat there twiddling their thumbs like...
We've got to talk about this.
Yeah, we need to. It's like how excited I was when I was like, have you been keeping up with WandaVision? Yes. Awesome. Let's talk about it.
WandaVision, by the way, great show.
Yeah, really good. And I will say to those, no spoilers, don't worry. But if you're a little bit unsure at first, like some of my friends were at work, really stick with it. Really, really do. Because you will be rewarded, I promise you. I had a few guys at work that were like, nah, I wasn't keen. I was like, please go back to it. Please stick with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you look for in a YouTube channel so that it gets onto your subscription list? What makes you go, yeah, I'm going to subscribe to this channel?
I wouldn't say I have any specific rationale behind that. It's just something that I find, entertaining, interesting, really. Those are the two things. If I feel I'm going to get something from it, I'll subscribe. It sounds like a really selfish thing, I suppose, doesn't it?
No, not at all. You're the consumer.
Yeah, true, I suppose. If I watch something, I want to laugh or learn something or appreciate something that somebody's worked on. So a number of different channels could be like, I appreciate the time they've put into that, or something else could just be like, oh yeah, I like this channel because it's quite silly and quirky and I enjoy it. But literally anything from the video essays or the dude that makes bullion from scrap metal that he's found.
Nice.
Have you seen that guy? Big Stack D, I think he's called. Literally goes and finds bits of scrap metal.
I've seen him in passing. I subscribe to a few blacksmithing channels and knife making channels, so I've seen it like by proxy, but I've never given it a watch. But I'll check it out. You
have to link me to some of those channels. I love that sort of stuff where they find like, oh, here is an old lawnmower, and then there's like, oh yeah, by the way, guys, I made it into a katana. It's like, well, okay.
Yeah, that kind of thing is really impressive to me.
It's just really satisfying, isn't it?
I went through a real binge fest of blacksmithing videos and armor smithing videos a few years ago because that's my jam.
Do you ever get to the point where you're watching it and you've watched so many, like, yeah, I could do this now. I reckon I know how to do this. I could do it. How much is a foundry?
Yeah. So last question on this is, what is your favourite video or series on YouTube? What do you always go to?
So I couldn't decide one on this. I went with two. The first one I went with is the Movies with Mikey's Star Wars playlist. I think that's really special because I have used this to provoke even some of the most toxic thinking fans into opening their mind and basically stop having a little strop like a kid. It's like,
as Star Wars fans are wont to do.
Yeah.
As Patrick Willems would say, it's a film about space wizards intended for children.
Honestly, if you're getting really angry about it, I think you need to look at yourself more than you need to look at the film. Mikey's videos, in particular, in defense of The Last Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
You watch it and it's just like so good. Like the way that he tees it up from the start, where it's like, you're probably a little disappointed with this because I made a video before and it was absolutely perfect and now it doesn't live up to your... Oh, wait, hang on a second.
Oh, wait, that's what this is.
And, all of the stuff he does is awesome, but I just love the Star Wars stuff. And there's too many thoughts about Star Wars as well. The second one is There's Nando v Movies. The Justice League rewrite is obviously done over 3 videos, 3 parts or 4 parts, and his rewrite for the Justice League is literally living rent free in my head. I'm psyched for the Snyder Cut to come out because I want to see how it goes. Listening to Whooper and Nebula's pod, obviously, Whooper's not a big fan of a lot of the DC movies anyway, like with the colouring in them, you know, and the way Zack Snyder's stuff, and it's like, yeah, fair enough.
It's all grey.
Yeah, and it's gonna end up kind of a bit like that again because it's Zack Snyder, but I personally quite like that. But
that's fair. Everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's the storyline as opposed to the visuals that kind of...
The plot in the original cut was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, and that was what kind of let it down for me.
You know, I'm not the biggest DC fan in the world, but I wanted to like it. I liked the performances. I thought Ezra Miller's Flash was really compelling. You know, Batfleck delivers way above what anyone expected.
Batfleck gets a lot of hate, and I'm sorry. I'm going to go off on a bit of a rant here.
No, you go for it.
People love Christian Bale's Batman, and a lot of people that I've spoken to see him as the Batman. And I'm like, right, okay, I get it. He was in some good films. I personally think that as Batman go, I rate Michael Keaton over Christian Bale.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just think his Batman was better. And I wouldn't rate Ben Affleck necessarily above Christian Bale, but I certainly don't think he's much further behind him because the Batman that he portrayed, especially in Batman v Superman, he is basically one step below the Bruce Wayne that's in Batman Beyond. You know, he is an older dude that is... He's just fucked, basically. He's done with everyone. He's done with everything. And at this point, it's just like... So what? And that fight scene in the warehouse in Batman v Superman is one of the best Batman fight scenes in live action. And I will die on that hill, happily.
And with all of that, where does Robert Battenbat sit in the grand scheme of things? Are you excited for The Batman?
I am, actually. I'm really, really excited for it. I mean, we've only seen a couple of teaser trailers, but I like the tone they're going for.
Yeah, they're definitely going for the noir crime thriller with this one, aren't they?
That's what they need to do. The Dark Knight, I mean, come on. Heath Ledger's phenomenal Joker performance aside, like, the dude's a maniac.
Oh, it's completely unhinged, and that's the point, isn't it? That's the point that Joker's trying to make, is that they're pretty much the same. It's just that the moral code stops at a different point.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm fully prepared to be disappointed that Zack Snyder hasn't just listened to Nando v Movies or watched that and then kind of gone, right, I'm doing this. But yeah, at the same time, I think DC needs to do their own thing, and that's why I'm excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman too, because it looks like they're going back to Batman's roots, which are dark. I know I've digressed completely from my original kind of point.
We may have derailed the conversation to Jake's hot takes on Batman. Side note, you need to start your own podcast called Jake's Hot Takes.
Could be a segment on this.
We'll at least try to make it a segment. Jake's Hot Takes. You listen out for that in future episodes, everyone.
So the first question, just to repeat that for yourself, what was the first YouTube channel you remember subscribing to?
This took me a few minutes to think about. Actually, quite a lot longer than a few minutes. So, as on-brand as your following of a cricket highlights channel is, as your first subscription, mine is all to do with the World of Warcraft and video games in general. My first subscription to any YouTube channel was Total Biscuit or Total Halibut or The Cynical Brit, whatever you want to call him. At the time, it was the best place for discovering new games, critiques, E3 coverage, World of Warcraft reviews, guides, back in we're talking the late 2000s to early 2010s.
Yeah.
He had this series called WTF Is, and it's just a WTF is this game. And he would go and give you a roundup of what the game is that's coming out. You should check it out. Should you not check it out? Very honest, very kind of brutal in his criticism where it was deserved. And being a Brit, fantastic commentary to go along with it. Unfortunately, back in October 2015, TB was diagnosed with terminal cancer, which spread to his liver. He continued to work right up until a few weeks before he passed away in 2018 and is now remembered as one of the great original YouTube gamers here in Britain and game reviewers, because he's left an amazing legacy. He did a great co-optional podcast on the channel and has left a fantastic legacy for many, many other channels to blaze the trail.
Awesome. That's amazing, man. So I'm not surprised, as you said, it is as on brand as mine. It's weird when you think back to kind of like the year. Like, I don't know the exact year. It's just like, I can't remember that. So,
yeah, I mean, I've had several different like YouTube accounts and subscription lists. So like, I couldn't put an exact date on it, but I know the first time I really engaged with YouTube was when I was playing World of Warcraft, and I had no idea what I was doing. And there were a lot of guides, and that was one of the channels that I latched onto first.
This is a little side question, actually, I've just thought of now. What was the first video you remember watching on YouTube?
Oh, Christ, you've put me on the spot. The first video I remember watching, I couldn't tell you who it was, but I know that it was another World of Warcraft raid guide. So a guide to the top tier content that a friend of mine and I were trying to do like 2 a.m. when we were like 14, 15, we were in this raid group and could not get any further, and we were looking up guides. So I'm pretty sure it was a World of Warcraft raid guide.
Nice. Mine was the annoying thing that was just people in school were putting it on because they found it funny, and school didn't know how to filter YouTube.
What was it, the point. Crazy Frog?
Yeah, he was known as the annoying thing then. That was the original one.
I'm having real flashbacks.
Yeah. Question 2, the official question 2. What value do you think YouTube delivers over other content platforms?
So I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with its accessibility for content creators. I mean, it's the second largest search engine in the world after its big brother Google.
I didn't actually know that, to be fair.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So, anyone who produces any kind of content in a visual or audio medium can benefit from YouTube and its incredible reach. From the blacksmiths that I follow to, epic rap battles of history who do ridiculous videos about ridiculous things. It's built for ease of expression for both creators and consumers, because I think a person's subscription list is a reflection of themselves.
Yeah.
And, you can build communities, you can engage directly with creators, and it's kind of the biggest place where you can pursue your passion with a view to making it into a career, which I think is another really exciting prospect for a lot of young people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really, I mean, a lot of other platforms deliver that, but I think YouTube does it kind of the biggest, kind of gives you that biggest potential. And the other thing is its algorithm, whilst for creators it's a nightmare to try and play against, it does consistently deliver new content to you that you'd be interested in. So it's perfect for consumers to go down like content rabbit holes like you and I do with video essays, and like fan theories. They get put in front of you the more you watch them. So I think it's just a really good way of discovering new creators as well, even if the algorithm is very unfair to creators as individuals.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like last week's creators that I bought, IPF, were like, they would completely just suggested videos. I was like, oh, okay, I'll check that out. It's brilliant. Exactly that, thanks to the algorithm. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about how, the opportunity it presents to young, because a lot of people, a lot of children, when I worked in the primary school doing the sports coaching, were, if you would ask them what do you want to be when you grow up, when we were young, it would, I don't really know, it varied, didn't it, depending on who you are. So I want to be this, I want to be that. You want to be
rockstar, footballer.
Yeah, some people wanted to be a teacher or a vet or a doctor and the usual stuff, really. A lot of kids then would just say, oh, I'm a YouTuber. Oh, okay. In fact, the amount of children that I had call me Jake Paul because my name was Jake when I was coaching, I was like,
oh, I'm sorry, man.
I'm not Jake Paul. I'm not Jake Paul.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, who Jake Paul is? I know who Jake Paul is, yes. Question 3. What is your most frequented YouTube channel? I could probably guess this.
Go on, have a guess.
It's between 3, so I've got a 1 in 3 chance. I'm going to say Game Grumps.
I feel called out and attacked. Honestly, it probably is Game Grumps, like most frequently, just because of the sheer volume of content. Their back catalogue is like a warm blanket on a stormy night. Like just hanging out with friends, laughing and playing video games. There's a huge amount of content that that's just probably of an evening. Like it's too late to start a film. Just put some Game Grumps on, just chill out and relax and drift off to it. I think that's probably my most frequented channel.
And do you know what? For what you just said, it's just got brought another thought to my head about you say, just chill out, it's too late to put a film on. YouTube's so good for that, where you're just like, all right, I don't want to have to watch a series where I've got to really follow it because I'm invested in this series, or I want to put a film on. I could put YouTube on and just chill out. I don't have to be
4 hours later.
That is always the way, yeah. 4 hours later, you wake up in the morning and go, oh, okay, so Jake was up at 2 a.m. down a rabbit hole because there's a load of links here. It happens to the best of us, doesn't it?
It does, more regularly than we should admit.
So, Game Grumps, your most frequented YouTube channel, and I completely agree. It's awesome to be able to just dip in when you want.
And the format lends itself to, like, just being there a lot. Like, they put daily videos out. It's just the two of them chatting.
Yeah.
And it's just, you sit there, you feel like you're playing games with friends of an evening, which is great.
It's awesome. And, like, we mentioned last week about going to the live show. And,
yeah. So much fun.
At the time, obviously, I was like, brand new for me. I was like, okay, cool. And you're like, these guys have got like a YouTube channel and this is what they do, this sort of stuff. It's like awesome. Definitely going to subscribe to that and check it out. So the little side question, whose videos do you wait for? So the religious watch as soon as that bell pings on.
Yeah, so we kind of alluded to, obviously, Movies with Mikey. That is, as soon as a video goes live, I follow him on Twitter and have notifications alert for that. They're kind of once a month, once every 6 weeks or so. And as soon as they go up, that is the first thing that I do. Drop everything, watch my Movies with Mikey. But Movies with Mikey is just one of those, it's so well put together. It's so well researched and reasonably argued. If there's a film that you don't like, you will like it by the time you finish his video, which is not to say he beats you over the head with a point. He's just very good at debating. So that's obviously a big top one. Along the same theme of video essays, you've got Patrick Willems, Lindsay Ellis, Nando v Movies, as you've mentioned, Lady Knight the Brave, which is one that I've recently discovered, that she does fantastically expansive, like podcast length video essays. They're like an hour and 20, hour and 40 on very in-depth deep dives, which is really cool. And also channels like CinemaWins, which are a little bit more bite-size. Basically, if you've got something good to say about films, I'm there for that. And also, as I mentioned at the top of this episode, cover artists like Jonathan Young, Victor Bora, Lauren Babic, and Frog Leap Studios. As soon as they release new tracks, I'm on it. I've added it to my Spotify. I've watched the video. That's kind of my jam. So if you do video essays about films, or you do rock and metal covers of popular songs, I'm there for all of it. That's my brand.
Awesome. What do you look for in a YouTube channel that gets on your subscriber list?
Cool. So mostly for me, it's about the creator rather than the content they make.
Okay.
I would say there has to be a level of authenticity and like familiarity with their community. You're not just hiding behind a brand or persona. That really turns me off to a channel, typically speaking. But, as far as the content goes, if it's funny, if it's insightful, if it's creative, if it's consistent as well, if there's a regular release schedule, I kind of factor that into my time. And if I know a video's coming up, I'll make space for it in my day. But also channels that like push new ideas as far as their format goes. For example, Patrick Willems, obviously, as a lot of channels have had to deal with, there's been this restriction around creating content with coronavirus.
Yeah.
So he's based in New York. He went upstate to visit his parents and then got stuck there in lockdown. And basically his production went from these big expansive video essays with B-roll of New York and like making the city a feature. He basically dropped everything and turned his show into a chat show with a band and a desk with a background, and he was wearing a suit, and the whole format surrounding the video essays became this regular weekly talk show, which was just
that's awesome.
A genius move, given that he had all he had was what was at his parents' house. And his parents play a lot of big roles in a lot of his videos as well, so that's really fun to see. But that show has kind of evolved now into, he's not just doing video essays about his favorite films or his favorite topics around cinema. the whole framing device of the last 6 months or so's worth of content has been this serial drama B-plot involving a coconut, a sentient coconut named Charles, which is the singular of Charles, which is now their most popular piece of merch on the channel as well, a Charles plushie and a Charles enamel pin. And, I just think that there are a lot of people putting out video essays, but what he does is push the format further. And that's really what I look for in a YouTube channel, to kind of push the envelope on what the content and the format does. Markiplier is another really interesting one who uses the mechanics of YouTube and the kind of the next video option to create these like choose your own adventure series. He's done that a couple of times with there's a murder mystery one, and there's a heist one, and there's like a date night with Markiplier one where the story just goes off in a million different tangents, and there's like 2-minute videos each time, and each time you get an A option and a B option in what direction to go, and you get multiple different endings, which is just, I wouldn't think to do that on YouTube. It's just a platform where you put videos, but he's really harnessed the potential of the platform, which I really like.
That's awesome. I mean, I guess when you think about it, that it's a case of, what can't you do?
I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with that, because there's a generation of creators now that are coming up that have always had YouTube. They know it. It's kind of embedded in their brains, and they're going to just push it far beyond what anyone else has done so far. And I'm really excited to see what people come up with.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You're going to see more and more of that as the generation that have always grown up with tech get older and move into the working world. People shoot videos. What can I do that's different? What can I do to, as you say, push the envelope, to change that up and put my stamp on something? The days are gone of, it's great, we can do that, but now I've got a new camera that shoots better, or now I've got better mics to, I've got better editing software, I've got better this. Now it's a case of the actual content itself as opposed to just the production value.
And that comes back round to what I was saying earlier about accessibility. I've got my phone camera, I've got a webcam, I've got a microphone. None of these things cost more than 50 quid or so.
But this is it.
And the editing software is not complicated. For me to, if I was starting from scratch as a kid, I went to uni to do creative media, so I kind of had I paid a lot more money than I should have for my education around content creation. You can go to YouTube, you can spend a couple £100 on some half decent kit, and you can start making stuff. And you can learn how to do that from YouTube, and it's perpetuating this education of content creating, and that really excites me because, can you imagine if we'd had this access to this technology when we were kids, rather than teenagers?
Yeah, that's the thing. It would have been awesome. I mean, there's two levels to it, isn't it? There's having the literacy to do it well. And then there's having, by growing up with it, the literacy isn't something you think of. I would say it's one thing to be able to write. And if you can read and write from a young age and do it to a good level, you're focusing on, I'm going to write a story. You can focus all your energies on just writing that story and creating that, because the whole reading and writing thing you've got down. You don't have to think about that. You don't need to think about your punctuation and your grammar and how that comes into play. So to an extent, I guess it's similar with these new creators that are coming out that have always had tech. The tech literacy's there.
And have a baseline skill.
That is the new reading and writing, and they don't need to think about the tech and how to set things up and how to edit and do all that stuff. They can focus more energy on the actual content itself.
There's no better example than everything going on TikTok at the moment. You see teenagers and kids doing editing stuff that we weren't even taught at uni, and I'm not capable of, because I'm not that literate with the platform. I personally don't understand TikTok.
I don't understand it, but damn it, I enjoy it from time to time.
But the creators that are on there are using the parameters and the functions and the tools in such unique ways, and it just blows my mind that all of that is available to kids. Again, could you imagine if we'd had stuff like that when we were kids?
Yeah. Final question. What is your favourite video or series on YouTube?
I'm kind of going to repeat an answer here.
Yeah.
It goes back to the game Grumps. And there are certain playthroughs that they've done. So for those who are uneducated in the ways of game Grumps, they play video games in kind of long form format. they'll chop it up into a bunch of different episodes between like 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes long. And they can run series into the hundreds or 200s. So it's really good consumable content for repeat watching. And their sense of humor and just general demeanor really lends itself. For me, it's like watching my favorite sitcoms. They have series like Grumps Dream Course, Heave Ho, House Party, Pokemon Fire Red, Doki Doki Literature Club. I'll rewatch those series dozens of times and I'll laugh just as hard the 12th time as I did the first. I'll go back and I'll watch one of those series and binge it as I would my favorite sitcoms, because those are like, it's my warm, wholesome content consuming habits coming to play, and they're just such high quality comedy, and it's ridiculous. Like the bits they go on and they devolve into these ridiculous in-jokes. And so I would recommend any of that to anyone who is interested in video games or just general shenanigans.
Awesome. I love that.
We'll make a gamer of you yet, Jake.
Yeah. I'm very stuck in my ways when it comes to games and stuff. I think, do you know what, actually? I think there's two reasons. The first reason is we didn't really have any money growing up. So I never had the money to have the most up-to-date console and stuff like that. So I had what I had and I enjoyed what I had and I appreciated it and played it. So that's why I like my Sega Mega Drive games and stuff like that. Like PS1, N64. My friends had a GameCube, so I used to always spend a lot of time playing that. And the second one is, as things like the Xbox progressed and they started putting things behind paywall with micro purchases and microtransactions, and I was like, yeah, you're a FIFA man, and your games have been hit probably hardest by that kind of thing. Do you know what? I much prefer Pro Evolution Soccer to FIFA and this is
another Jake's hot take. Fair enough.
Yeah, this is the football coach in me. The gameplay and the actual way that it was structured as a footballing spectacle, and as how the game, the patterns of play and how it all works out, is much more realistic in Pro Evo. I'm not a massive fan of football games like that, because I think the microtransactions do really annoy me, but also the fact that I get frustrated that my team doesn't do what I want it to do. It's like, I've set you up this way, I want you to do that, and the football coach in me takes over, as opposed to like I'm playing a game.
Yeah, that's like when I was a teenager and used to play Guitar Hero, and I sucked at Guitar Hero because I played guitar, and it's just like, this is not like playing guitar, so I cannot do this. It must be the same with football games and playing football as a coach and as a player.
Possibly, though. I also think it comes down to time invested in it, because then you just figure out ways that you can beat it. But I think one of the other reasons why I like NFL is because of the tactics behind it, and playing Madden football. Like, Matt is awesome at that, because he can read plays and change things up and move things, because it's so structured. He can change things up and be like, I can see that's going to do that just from the way they've lined up. They're probably going to do this.
It's more turn-based, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a lot more kind of tactical in that respect. And that side of is where I kind of lean more towards playing Madden now, because it's something I can actively look at and read the game and improve how good I am at it by reading it. I've got a strange relationship with games like that, so I tend to stick with more of the kind of retro ones that I don't have to... You don't have to get as invested in them, except unless you're playing like Golden Axe or something, and you just kind of got to go for it and try and complete it, because obviously it's an old arcade game that you play on Sega. So it's like, we're in this and we go till the end.
We should definitely see if we can jimmy up a let's play of doing Sega games.
Oh yeah,
and record that and put that on YouTube. I think that'd be well good fun.
100%.
So hopefully everyone has enjoyed our kind of interview style approach to this week's episode. We're running a little longer than we usually do. I've got some closing thoughts. I don't know about you, Jake.
I do. Whilst I was driving home the other day, I had a little thought, and I thought up an ode to YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Just a little something that I wrote in my head and then had to quickly write it down when I got home. It was nice because I was engulfed in thinking about this and ignoring the drivers that make me angry.
As long as it got you home safe. Let's hear it.
Ding ding da da ding ding. What on earth is this you bring? This is the annoying thing. Doesn't exactly sing. From early days of fun but strange, since then the place has greater range. From cats and dogs that make us smile, worlds we can lose ourselves in for a while. We tune back in day by day to watch our favourites and have our say. Much is the place we celebrate, where one and all can come create. 16 years YouTube hath been, so much watched, yet so much to be seen.
Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say I should have gone first, because I don't think I can follow that. That was beautiful, mate.
I mean, you could edit it, put it at the end. Yeah,
I do have that power.
I have these random moments sometimes where it's almost like a brain cell inside and stuff happens.
Two brain cells, a synapse fires, and voila, something comes out.
It's like, oh wow, okay.
Once a fortnight or so.
I mean, it's disappointing it happened in February because I could be it for the year now, but
Yeah, you might have peaked.
Yeah. Also, I think it's. Apparently, according to Nebula, it's nice that we have our English accents. So, hopefully that was a nice bit of English poetry ASMR for our American listeners.
Absolutely.
Not often someone from Bristol gets told they have a nice accent, to be fair.
Well, no, nor Cornwall.
Yeah, that's
We all
true.
sound like farmers around here.
Yeah. What were your closing thoughts then on this? I've really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, so have I. And, this kind of episode is exactly why we started the podcast. And what really excites me is that even though I personally, I don't know about you, I've been consuming YouTube's content for 10 plus years and I consume it on a daily basis. That's not going to slow down anytime soon. But I'm not even close to scratching the surface of what's out there, the depth of amazing content and amazing creators on the platform. Again, this is kind of the mission of the podcast. We could spend the rest of our natural born lives making daily episodes of this show and still not get to 1% of what's out there, which is lamentable, but exciting because we never know what we're going to discover. And that's what YouTube is to me. It's like this infinite realm of possibility for discovering new creators and putting stuff out there and just experiencing culture through the lens of the internet, where it's not so much of a trash fire like Twitter.
Yeah.
I really love YouTube as a platform for that. And like I say, a big inspiration for the show was the ability to discover new creators and sit in with your regular ones and engage with those communities. And I think it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's nice. It's also, that's a phenomenal thought, really. I never really thought of it that way if you watched every day and we still wouldn't even get like 1%. That's crazy.
We probably wouldn't even get 1,000%, let's be honest, even if this was our full-time job.
That was insane.
So this week, the Charity of the Week segment is hosted by myself, and a Facebook memory came up the other day for me about the time I ran the Bath Half Marathon for a charity that's really close to my heart, and I thought it would be worth bringing them up today because they do absolutely fantastic work with young people, and that's young minds. 1 in 10 young people struggle with mental health. Almost 100,000 children and young people suffer from severe depression, and that's a statistic which is heartbreaking. There is so much need for education for young people around mental health, and Young Minds just does a fantastic effort in supporting and educating young people, and also educating adults about the struggles that young people go through, because we were all kids once. We all know what it's like to go through that. But things like the internet and social media can do a lot to amplify those social issues that cause a lot of mental health issues in young people. And I think it's really important for charities like Young Minds to be educating adults and children on how to navigate this world and look after your mental health, because not enough of it is taught in school. So thank you for the work that you guys do.
That's awesome. Yeah, I completely echo those thoughts. I mean, we mentioned last week, we touched upon social and emotional education and how important that is. So, it's a really nice charity to follow that on with, because, mental health is so, so, so important,
Especially now.
And I will, as you will, continue to unapologetically promote people's mental health and well-being, because
1,000%.
it is I would say the most important thing.
I would say, Jake, it is about time to roll the dice of destiny.
It is indeed. Perhaps I might climb to the dizzying heights of a 5 this week.
Steady on there, bucko. Don't get greedy. So, for the benefit of the listeners, if you're new to the show, I have a 6-sided dice which I use to play D&D, which decides the type of creator that either Jake or I bring to the table for the next episode. So this week, if I roll a 1, we'll be doing podcasts. If I roll a 2, it's artists or photographers. 3 is musician. 4 is YouTuber, as it has been this week. Number 5 is a writer, so an author, journalist, blogger, or if you roll a number 6, it's a wild card, so dealer's choice. Jake, do you accept these terms?
What if I said no?
Then you derail the entire podcast and we have to shut the show down.
Okay, yes, I accept these terms.
Thank you. Why bring that up when you know exactly what is at stake?
I just wondered. I just thought of this last week.
I'm just going to roll the dice, Jake.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just going to roll the dice for you.
It's a 4, isn't it?
It's a 3.
Come on.
So next week, you'll be bringing a musician to the table. Again.
Sweet.
I'm excited.
I can do that.
I'm now going to roll for myself. Oh. I have a 6, which is a wild card. I've been rolling 6s a lot.
It's a good thing we're not playing like a gambling game with dice, because I would be long out. Like,
what I was going to say is I do not roll this well in D&D when I'm actually playing. So this is where all my luck goes, I guess. Cool. I think that is the end of this week's episode. Thank you very much, Jake, for talking with me on all of these adventures around YouTube. It's been really good fun.
It has. I've really enjoyed it.
And for listeners, check us out on all the social medias. Give us a like, give us a review, give us all those good things that algorithms love, and we will see everybody next week. Take care, everyone.
Take care.
Oh, you actually said it this time.
I did. I said goodbye.
Excellent.
Love you all.
Bye-bye. Bye. Creme de la Creator is produced by Grant Alexander and Jake Lane. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter and TikTok at CDLC Podcast, or email us at cdlcpodcast@gmail.com with your suggestions for creators you think we should feature in future episodes.
Stay safe and look after yourselves during lockdown. If you need to talk to someone, please reach out using one of the links provided in the episode description. See you next week.